Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the December 16th version of the Johnston County Planning Board. As is our custom, we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I'll ask Mr. Little to lead us, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next on our agenda is approval of the minutes from the October 21st Planning Board meeting. And I believe also includes minutes from the December 2nd Planning Board meeting as well.
Motion to approve is written.
Second.
Motion to approve by Mr. Crenshaw, second by Ms. Holmes. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, next on our agenda is approval of the meeting schedule for 2026. You should have a copy of that in your packet. Please note that the January 2026 meeting will be on the fourth Tuesday, as the commissioners have had to move their meeting due to MLK holiday. But I'll need a motion and a second to approve.
Make a motion.
Motion. Second.
All right, motion by Ms. Howard, second by Mr. Sasser. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, for our agenda this evening, a little bit of a different agenda for everyone that's following along at home or is here in the hallway. Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind bringing your mic a little
Yep,
closer to you.
no problem.
It'll come through in the hallway a little bit. I think.
Thank you, sir. A little bit of an oddity with tonight's meeting, as we did not have a quorum for our November meeting. We are going to handle the subdivisions and rezonings from the November agenda first, and then the subdivisions and rezonings for the regular December meeting second. We do have two changes to the agenda that I'll need you to authorize. The first is the Whitley Terrace subdivision has been withdrawn, so I'll need a motion and a second to withdraw that.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Holmes, second by Mr. Crenshaw. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And then second, rezoning 25-15 Pierce Road has been asked to be tabled to the January 27th meeting. Need a vote on that.
Make a motion to table.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Holmes, second by Mr. Crenshaw. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, that should get us up to date on the agenda. We will start with subdivisions from the November meeting. I think everybody here in the room is familiar with the process, but just as a reminder, we are the final approval body for all subdivisions. As such, I will need anyone that's wishing to speak as it relates to a subdivision to be sworn in, so if you'll stand and raise your right hand, please. Do you affirm the information you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and this is your solemn affirmation?
I do.
Thank you. Mr. Marr.
Okay, first up is O'Neill Track on NC Highway 39. Its owner is the estate of Johnny O'Neill. Developer is MHB Development LLC. Surveyor engineers Bass, Nixon, Kennedy. The location is NC Highway 39 at intersection of Renfro, Narren Road in the O'Neill's Township, served by O'Neill's Fire and THS Rescue. 67.62 acres, 42 lots proposed, Johnston County Public Water, individual septic. Traffic count for NC Highway 39 is 3,800 vehicles per day. That was in 2023. It appears on the Highway 39 appears on the Comprehensive Transportation Plan as an existing major thoroughfare with adequate design capacity. It's within the environmentally sensitive area. However, no floodplain appears on the parcel. A reverse landscape buffer will be required for all lots backing up to NC Highway 39 and Renfro Narren Road. Per NCDOT, road improvements will be required for NC Highway 39 and also possibly Renfro Narren Road, depending on upcoming counts. In relation to direct driveway access on those two roads, major subdivisions to be located on local roads shall be so designed that there should be no more than one direct residential driveway connection per 500 feet along the same side of the local road unless it can be demonstrated that the proposed subdivision cannot be physically designed, no reasonable alternative exists, or it would create an unreasonable hardship without a corresponding public benefit to prohibit individual driveway access onto the local road. Also from Johnston County Land Design Manual, where there's 4 or more lots, no easement exists, and where the parent tracts have direct road frontage, an easement shall not be allowed. The developer must dedicate a right-of-way meeting the requirements of this section. A waiver may be allowed by the planning board if they find that in pursuit of the section, a hardship is created upon the property that provides no benefit to the safety, welfare, and quality of life to the public. This was tabled from the October meeting over concerns of an easement dispute, and I will let the applicant explain what this came about from that.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, ma'am.
I need to be recused.
All right, entertain a motion to recuse Ms. Howard.
Motion.
Second.
Motion to recuse Ms. Howard made by Ms. Holmes, second by Mr. Crenshaw. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Ms. Howard. Who'd like to be heard on behalf of O'Neill Tract and NC Highway 39?
Good evening. Michael Morrison, MHB Development, 208 Forest Oaks Drive in Orchard Lodge. I'm the developer of this property and this project. And I guess basically without kind of rehashing, we presented the project in the October meeting in detail. I wasn't able to be here at that time. I got pulled out of town. We came back in November, presented it at length, had plenty of discussion. What I'd like to do is present the YouTube video from last month's meeting that went through in detail all the aspects of the property, as well as I'd like to represent to the board an affidavit presented by my attorney, a real estate agent who did a deep dive title search on the property to investigate this easement that came up by Mr. Howard in the October meeting. And this affidavit clearly shows, it went back to the early 1900s, clearly shows that there is no easement of such easement ever existing that he brought up. Plus my surveyors, we did an extensive brand new boundary survey of the property at that time, and that did not show the easement as well. So there is no easement going across the O'Neill property that affects the design of this particular project. And I'd like to resubmit this to you if you would, along with that thumb drive.
Great, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
I'm here to answer any questions you may have. I've got Marty Bizzle with B&K Engineering here as well if you have any questions, but that should speak for itself. We'd ask you to review and give us an approval on our project.
Thanks, sir. Any questions? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else like to be heard as it relates to O'Neill Tract, NC Highway 39? Yes, sir.
Thank you, board members. Yeah, I'm Gustafson. I have the track right behind the development that the gentleman is talking about developing. My only request would be.
Can you give your address, please?
Oh, I'm sorry, 9825 NC Highway 42 East, Scott Gustafson. I own the tracks right behind it here, and there's a 20-foot easement, but if you look, when I subdivided this, I was gonna put a couple houses there for my kids, but long story short, they gave me a 30-foot easement, or required me to have a 30-foot easement. So what I was hoping maybe I could get the developer is to give me a 30-foot easement. I know she's got one coming back there in the corner, correct? Coming all the way back there to the corner?
No, there is no easement back to the corner.
That's not gonna be a 20-foot, that's just gonna be a utility easement, the 20-foot you've got going back there now?
That is no utility easement. All that is a setback from the side building line.
In between 1 and 2?
There's only a shared driveway
Okay,
across the right of way
okay.
into lot 1 and 2.
Okay,
It stops
okay.
right there.
See, my only issue would be there if I ever were to develop that. I have a total of 20 acres right here, all combined with everything I've got. Again, if I'd have to put a road in there, how would I put a road in there? What would I be able to do? That'd be my only question to that.
Okay.
And maybe I could work something out with you guys, maybe something of that nature, but that's what I would like to request.
Okay.
It's just, okay?
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Board, I'd like to address that if you'd like me to.
Sure. Well, yeah, we can.
Yeah, go ahead.
The property in question that he's actually talking about is the 20-foot easement that he's referencing. That easement was in place since the 1970s. That's part of that affidavit that I just gave you. His easement, he has an easement from his property south to Creech Church Road that gives him access to his property. It was there before he purchased that from, I think, originally it was the Howard property way back. That easement was put in place in the 1970s. When he bought that property, he came back and subdivided that into those 2 lots. After he purchased it, that easement's still there. Both of those smaller lots have an easement across them down the same easement out to Creech Church Road. There's a little triangle there that they must have gotten from, I think it's I can't remember the party's name now. You can look at those maps and tell there was a little bitty triangle that actually pushed that 20-foot easement out onto Creech Church Road. So his property and the Howards have sufficient access to Creech Church Road without any issue from me. It's not my responsibility to give him land when he's already got an access to a proper street.
Thanks, sir. Anyone else like to be heard as it relates to O'Neill Tract, NC Highway 39? All right, bring it back to staff.
Staff recommendation was denial due to the lack of driveway separation on Renfro Nairn Road and also direct driveway access onto Renfro Nairn and Creech Church Road that do not meet the requirements of a major subdivision.
Questions, staff?
The first part of that, Todd, what was the first part?
Just that the separation of the driveways being less than 500. I'm not sure 100% that they are. It looked like it from the map and from GIS
And that was on,
on Renfro Nairn.
oh, okay.
Which we did hear testimony on in October and additionally again in November as it related to the hardship for those access points.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion approved by Mr. Saster, second by Mr. Crenshaw. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, O'Neill Tract is approved. Ennis Road Tract.
Ennis Road Track, owner is High Beat Investment Group LLC, developers Cloud Break Investments LLC, engineers Becker Morgan Group. Its location is Ennis Road, east of Old Fairgrounds Road in Pleasant Grove Township. It's served by 5210 Fire and Rescue. It's 10.68 acres, 12 lots proposed, Johnston County Public Water, individual septic. Traffic count's not available. This portion of Ennis Road appears on the comprehensive transportation plan as a secondary road with adequate design capacity with no noted improvement needed.
Thank you, sir. Who'd like to be heard on behalf of Ennis Road Tract?
Good evening, Donnie Adams, professional engineer with Becker Morgan Group, 314 East Main Street in Clayton. My firm's handling planning and engineering on this project. We are proposed in 12 lots, as you see before you. Nothing's changed since the last time we were in front of you. Meet standards, be glad to answer any questions about it.
Any questions? Thank you, sir. Anyone else like to be heard as it relates to Ennis Road Tract? Bring it back to staff.
Staff recommendations, preliminary approval subject to the conditions and requirements in the staff report.
Make a
Make-
motion to approve.
Second.
Make a motion to approve by Mr. Crenshaw, second by Ms. Holmes. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And Ennis Road Tract is approved. Graham's Place Phase 3.
Yes. Grand Place Phase 3, Myland Inc. is owner and developer. Engineer Sanderson Engineering. Its location 6500 block of Princeton Kinley Road in the Boone Hill Township. It's served by the Boone Hill Fire District and Princeton Rescue Squad. It's 32.78 acres, 25 lots proposed, Johnston County Public Water, individual septic. Traffic count was 2,800 vehicles per day in 2022. This portion of Princeton Kinley Road appears on the comprehensive transportation plan as a secondary road with adequate design capacity with no noted improvement needed. This parcel is not within the ESA, however, a floodplain appears on the parcel. A maximum of 99 lots can be recorded for all three phases combined unless a 20-foot emergency access easement or second full-service entrance is added and a traffic impact analysis is conducted. You have two maps in front of you, what was a previously approved 88 lots up to 2022, and then he's requesting 25 more, but in talking with them, they're going to lose a bunch of lots from the previous phases, and he knows that he says that it won't go over 99 unless all those conditions are met.
Okay, so you've got that condition in the staff report here.
I do. It is listed in number one.
Okay.
Number one under conditions and requirements.
Any questions, staff? Thank you, sir. Who'd like to be heard on behalf of Graham's Place Phase 3?
Good evening. I'm Stephen Sanderson with Sanderson Engineering. I prepared the map that is before you today. It's been drawn in accordance with the town or the county's ordinances as best as I know. We have read and gone over all of the staff recommendations and the conditions of approval, and we are in agreement with them. I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have them for me.
Any questions? Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to be heard as it relates to Graham's Place Phase 3? All right, bring it back to staff.
Staff recommendations, preliminary approval subject to the conditions and requirements in the staff report.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion approved by Mr. Crenshaw, second by Mr. Sasser. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, Graham's Place Phase 3 is approved. Next on our agenda, Earp South Phase 2.
Yes, sir. Phase 1 was approved in 2024 for 20 lots, and it is included on the map that is in front of you. Earp South Phase 2, Earp Farm LLC, and Claire Leanne Hurt are the owner. Developers, Cloudbreak Investments. Engineer is Becker Morgan Group. It's a 600 block of Lynch Road in the O'Neill's Township, served by Northside Fire and THS Rescue. Is 21.12 acres, 15 lots proposed. Johnston County Water, individual septic, traffic counts not available. This portion of the Lynch Road appears on the comprehensive transportation plan as a secondary road with adequate design capacity and no noted improvement needed. So this will be a total with 2 of being 35 lots.
Okay. Any questions, staff? Thank you, sir. We'd like to be heard on behalf of Earp South Phase 2.
Donnie Adams, Becker Morgan Group, 314 East Main Street, Clayton. I'm not sure if I need to say that again.
No, once is fine.
All righty. So what's before you tonight, this is an extension to a previously approved ARP South subdivision. The original one terminated with a cul-de-sac that you can see underneath our layout. We're basically picking up at that point and adding the additional property to end up with a total of, as Todd said, of 35 lots. That is 15 new, so asking for approval for 15. As typical, we've designed it to meet Johnston County standards. We have a CBU location shown in that original phase, phase 1 that was shown. We've also added one at the end of the cul-de-sac in phase 2. And as always, should we get approved tonight, we realize we'll be working through the process with Johnston County Public Utilities, NCDOT, and developer will work with environmental health to secure proper permits. So that being said, be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions? Thank you, sir. Anyone else like to be heard as it relates to Earp South Phase 2? All right, bring it back to staff.
Staff recommendations, preliminary approval subject to the conditions and requirements in the staff report.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion approved by Ms. Holmes, second by Mr. Crenshaw. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next, we'll move on to the rezoning portion of our November agenda. Just as a note, we serve as an advisory board to the Board of County Commissioners, so all of these cases will be heard at their February 2nd meeting at 6 p.m. So if you're here for any of the rezonings on tonight's agenda, whether part of the November agenda or the December agenda, those will go to the Board of County Commissioners on February 2nd at 6 p.m. We will begin with rezoning case 25-12.
Yes, sir. This is a petition to rezone 3.903 acres of a 42.568 acre parcel located in the 200 block of Langdon Road in the Elevation Township from agriculture residential to general business conditional zoning. Owner and applicant are Langdon Road Farm Land LLC. Its conditional zoning request is a contractor's office with storage yard, mini storage, and open storage. Served by 5210 Fire and Rescue. Existing land use is zoned AR and is vacant property. Surrounding land use is zoned AR and used for agriculture and residential purposes. Zone GB, special use, and is used for auto repair and equipment repair, and zone AR, special use, and is a cell phone tower. Traffic concerns, traffic count for this portion of Langdon Road is not available. It appears on the comprehensive transportation plan as a secondary road with adequate design capacity with no noted improvement needed. This area is located within a designated rural living place type on the envisioned Johnston County Comprehensive Land Use Plan. These areas are characterized by low-density residential development with larger lots and more open space. There were 18 notices sent to adjacent property owners, a pre-application meeting was held with planning staff on August 6, 2025. And this is part of a larger tract that is going to be before you in the December portion of the night as a major subdivision also, the remaining acreage.
Same applicant.
Same applicant.
Todd, how's the entrance shown? How's it in relation to the subdivision entrance?
If you'll turn, well, if you'll get out your maps and it's,
Okay. Okay.
it's Wheeler tract if you find your map.
Yeah, in the maps, you will have the Wheeler track.
While we're scrolling through that, just a quick question. If this were to remain zoned as is, could the owner stage and store large pieces of agricultural equipment or other bulk agricultural products that are not building materials?
No, if it's, not unless it's part of a working, like he couldn't, if it's commercial vehicles, it would have to be rezoned unless he's working that land.
Yeah, it has to be agricultural related, agricultural implementation of the part
Okay.
of the owned by the farm
Yeah.
operation.
Yeah, I guess that's what I was asking. If it stays as is, they could park tractors here, they could do that kind of, okay.
Is there anything zoned commercial that actually abuts this property?
If you'll look on
I
your.
saw one, but it didn't
It's
touch this.
that's the, right, is it, to the,
On the other side of Hunter Fox Trail.
to the north of it? Yes, that's a, that's, I think that was in the early 2000s. It was the one mentioned that was auto and equipment repair is all it's approved for.
But there's nothing touching this that I see.
That's correct. The other to the south.
I see
The
that.
circular is in the GB, is also that's the cell tower. I'm not sure what the actual general business is, but it's still further south.
So basically, it's a separate entrance for this parcel as opposed.
That's correct.
Okay.
Any other questions of staff? Thanks, sir. Who'd like to be heard on behalf of case 25-12?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, good evening. My name is Jonathan Barnes, I'm employed at Dalton Engineering and Associates. Office is located at 446 East Main Street, Clayton, North Carolina. Our office is assisting the owner-developer with the rezoning application for the Langdon Road tract. Couple of items that we would like to start off with. On the site layout, it does show an existing building footprint. Portion of that building, that existing building, it does extend into the front building setback for the property. And owner developer, they've thought about that, and they would remove that portion of the existing building so that it would then at that point be a conforming structure.
Help me understand what the plan is for the land uses for the site. Obviously, this is a very interesting case in that we've got a request by the same applicant for a residential subdivision abutting this, and my first thought is, are those uses compatible? So maybe help me just understand what the intent is for the uses here.
Okay, so the intent for the property, contractor's office with a storage yard, which the existing building would be a part of that, as well as providing some indoor storage and some outdoor storage, covered outdoor storage.
ask him a question? What are all these things on the aerial map? Looks like a bunch of 18-wheelers or a bunch of that are existing there right now.
I'm not sure if they were maybe bulk barns at one point in time.
It's all been, I need to come up with this.
If you would.
Yeah,
So,
give us your name and address too, if you don't mind.
Let me see.
Good evening. My name's Sam Jones. I'm at 1848 NC Highway 50 South in Benson. I am the owner and developer of this project. We bought this farm from Mr. Wheeler, and somebody invested a lot of money in a structure there, as you can see. And we're trying to find a way to preserve that without tearing it down. And it doesn't benefit the residential development that we're going to put behind it any to include that land. We would gain one lot, possibly two, but we'd have to tear that building down in order to do it. So I've sat and thought about it, and we're gonna clean up there's a bunch of existing structures, some labor camps. What you're referring to is when there was actually a farm there. Those are all tractor trailers parked in there.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, so we've actually cleaned all of that up and hauled it out of there. We're gonna do away with all the other existing structures, and I'm trying to preserve that building and turn it into somewhere affordable for like a landscape contractor or a framing operation, somebody who needs a building to use to kind of work out of. And then on the, I guess that would be the south side of it, I'd like to do some kind of storage where like people in the subdivision, the HOA is not going to allow them to park boats or a motor home or anything like that on their property. They would be able to come and rent a spot to park like a boat or a motor home or anything outdoor storage wise. Whether we incorporate the structure into the storage part, I have not made up my mind yet, so that's why I would request that I could do either or. It could be a contractor building or an indoor storage area. We're just trying to get it done and get it all approved and then figure out exactly how we want to go about it. But like I said, we're trying to improve it. I've got some photographs that I took to show. I don't know if Braston can pull those up or not, to kind of show how it's laid out, maybe give you a better idea. But it's just a lot of building and a lot of money to throw away, if it doesn't have to be. And we are going to resheet it, clean it up, bring it up to code or whatever has to be done to make it comply, like taking part of it out of the right-of-way. And there will be a buffer and a chain link fence and the black fabric around the fence all the way around the property. So it'll kind of stand out on its own as it already does.
Your contention is it's a benefit to the neighborhood?
Yes,
not,
sir.
Not a separate, it can be separate, but
It
you're
could be,
looking
but
to benefit the neighborhood primarily?
It's already there, and instead of, doing away with it, there's going to be however many, 28 or 30 lots, I think, coming there that are going to have somewhere to keep something like a boat or a storage unit or whatever it may be. And it's needed in this area. So instead of tearing it down, we're trying to fix it up and create something that will work. That's all we're trying to do.
That's helpful, thank you. Have you reviewed and do you agree with the conditions that are in the staff report, particularly relative to the uses that you intend to be there? And one of the reasons I asked that question is we want to make sure the conditions match with what you're trying to do, if this were to get approved.
Right.
Obviously, again, a bit of a unique situation in that you're also the applicant for the residential subdivision. But I think what we would want to avoid, again, if this were approved, is people move into the subdivision, you're gone and done with that, but then they get to complaining about what's happening on this parcel at the front. We see that all the time, right? So, again, have you looked at those conditions and do you agree with them relative to what you've got in mind will happen on that parcel?
I do agree with them, and I don't think that would be much of an issue with what I do plan to have there. Okay. There may be people there in the morning or maybe people there in the evening, but it's not going to be like a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week business. Somebody may come in there and drop their boat off and leave. It is going to be gated and protected. and there's only one house that borders it. So, you know, if we were trying to do this after the subdivision was approved, I might could see somebody complaining about it, but being as they're gonna buy a house knowing that it is there and we plan for it to be done first, I mean, they would kind of contradict themselves being as they bought a house behind it.
We get a lot of that.
I understand.
Okay, I think the thing that I see in here that makes me ask that question is more so the contractor yard rather than the mini storage and the open storage. I tend to agree with you. Those are pretty quiet. You got
Right.
one in, coming in, going out every now and then. Contractor yard, you know, they might be backing the trucks, there's backup alarms, they're moving equipment around, they're picking up equipment in the morning. That, I think, is a bit of a different use.
Right.
So again, we want to make sure, again, if this is approved, that we've got those conditions that sort of match that use
Right, I
as well.
understand, but this is what we're trying to do.
Right. Any other questions of the gentleman?
You know what the spacing is between the two proposed driveway and the subdivision driveway?
That's the question I was going to ask as well.
I'm quite confident it's 200 or 300 feet apart, if not more.
Okay.
I've got some photographs. There's plenty of sight and. there's
Yeah, it
not-
looks like it's in the apex of the curve. so
Yeah,
that would
it's
be
at the very
ideal
top
spot.
of the hill. You can see 1,000 feet to the left and 1,000 feet to the right. I'm not exactly sure that, can you see it better on your screen, on the plan? We've got it in place where it complies with whatever the necessary, do you know, Jonathan?
And just for everybody else, like, the DOT did do a count on that road, and it was very low.
I'd imagine it's like 100 cars.
Yeah,
a day.
it was like 200 to 300 cars a day. Okay.
Jonathan, did you say 350?
Any other questions, gentlemen? Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Jonathan, anything else you want to add? I didn't know if you were in the middle of your
No,
testimony. or-
no, sir, I mean,
Okay,
we're here to help answer any questions that we can.
okay. Any other additional questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We'll bring back staff. Well, excuse me, anybody else want to be heard as it relates to this case? Now we'll bring back staff. Thank you.
The staff recommendation was denial due to inconsistency with the comprehensive land use plan and it being in a rural living place type on the land use plan.
You know, I will say that, thank you for explaining what your proposed use was. That helped a whole lot. And then trying to preserve something that's already there. And, you know, I think that's a great thing. And the fact that, I think if it was coming after the subdivision, it would be easy. The fact it's coming prior to, I support it. I recommend approval.
Second.
Okay.
A question?
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
What, you said you were the owner
Yes, ma'am.
and the developer?
Yes, ma'am.
And what's your name?
Sam Jones.
Sam?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh. It's just different from what our stuff is here. That's why I didn't.
It's probably got Lanny Clifton on there. He just
It's
wanted
got,
comments.
cause I'm like, okay, this ain't who it says the owner is.
That's the LLC.
it's
Langdon
LLC.
Road Farm Dash Land LLC, Lanny Clifton Builder.
Lanny is the title on the LLC, but we are a group of partners that.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so I have a motion for approval by Mr. Little, a second by Mr. Crenshaw. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that will go forward to the Board of County Commissioners as a recommendation for approval. All right, next on our agenda is case 25-13.
Yes, sir. This is a petition to rezone 77.4 acres located at 2300 block of Richardson Bridge Road in Bentonville Township from agriculture residential to industrial 2 conditional zoning. Owner is Neil M. Howe Revocable Trust. Applicant is LA Aggregate Materials LLC. Conditional zoning request is a sand pit. It's served by Bentonville Fire District Princeton Rescue. Its existing land use is zoned AR and used for agricultural purposes. Surrounding is also AR and used for those purposes, and also I-2 Special Use District and used for sand and gravel mining. Traffic count is 650 vehicles per day on Richardson Bridge Road. That was in 2023. It appears on the comprehensive transportation plan as a secondary road with adequate design capacity with no noted improvement needed. It's located within a designated open spaces and conservation place type on the envisioned Johnston County Comprehensive Land Use Plan. This denotes areas consisting primarily of undisturbed open space. It's 9 notices sent out to adjacent property owners. A pre-application meeting was held with the applicant and planning staff in late October of this year.
Any questions, staff?
Many other pits are around, sand pits?
It's,
zoned
I
around
think
it?
it's the same owner. There's roughly, well, if he'll pull up the,
I think there's some adjacent.
if you can see on your, like, 2 pages after your staff report, all the blue area there
Okay,
is the sand
okay.
and gravel pit.
Thanks, sir. Who'd like to be heard on behalf of case 25-13?
My name is James Kirkpatrick. You want
Yeah, address, whichever address you want.
7962 Harper House Road
Perfect.
in Newton Grove. We are the end user with LA Aggregates. It would just be a typical sand operation that is with the current area. It's what everybody else is doing, washing sand, making concrete sand. I have met with the owner, the Fletcher tract that this land seems to, that it does surround. I met with her son, discussed the intent of what we were doing. There was no problem. And that's, we did make that one effort. I did have a conversation with a representative of Ms. Fletcher. So we discussed the berm, the size, and the sound and whatnot.
All right, any questions, gentlemen? Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to be heard as it relates to case 25-13? All right, bring it back to staff.
Staff recommendations approval based on the consistency statement in the staff report.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Ms. Holmes, second by Mr. Sasser. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That'll go forward to the Board of County Commissioners as a recommendation of approval.
Mr. Chair, also, I know you talked about having a break after all the November, and that's the end of November, but Mr. Sanderson had requested to be heard as early as he could because he had another event tonight. So I was just wondering if we could do the first subdivision at least before we break.
In recognition of the fabulous Christmas attire, yeah, I think we appreciate you brightening up the room.
Absolutely.
I'll wait. Okay, Antioch Heights owner and developers Brian and Alexia Leary. It's engineer Sanderson Engineering. It's at Antioch Church Road, just west of Connolly Way in O'Neill's Township. It's served by the Northside Fire District THS Rescue. It's 18.55 acres, 17 lots proposed, Johnston County Public Water, individual septic. Traffic count 700 vehicles per day. That was in 2023. It appears on the comprehensive transportation plan as a secondary road with adequate design capacity with no noted improvement needed. And it is within a environmentally sensitive area. However, no floodplain appears on the parcel.
Questions of staff? Thanks, sir.
Good evening. I'm Stephen Sanderson with Sanderson Engineering. 2485 Wendell Boulevard, Wendell, North Carolina. I drew and am presenting the plat before you tonight. It's been drawn in accordance with the county standards and ordinances. We have read and reviewed all of the staff recommendations and the conditions of approval, and we are in agreement with them. We respectfully ask that you approve our subdivision. Be happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Is the open space, which is the existing dry pond, is that going to be owned by the HOA?
Yes.
Thank you.
Do you have a location of the mail kiosk on these plans?
No, I do not, but there will be one put on. Sorry about that. Well, I have to change my statement, all but one.
Other questions?
It'll be in the first straight part, probably between the second and third lot. It's going to be at least 100 feet away from the road.
Thanks, sir.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Anyone else like to be heard as it relates to Antioch Heights? That's no problem. Take your time. I'm gonna need your name and address, and I'm gonna have to swear you in if you don't
Mike
mind.
Gallo, 152 Connolly Way.
All right, if you'll raise your right hand, please, sir. You swear that the information you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and this is your solemn affirmation.
I do.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Now about this open space.
Yes, sir.
We've had problems, well, not really major problems, but when we get the flood warnings and get the good rain, that open space backs up because it's all depressed. That backs up into what will be the new lot 13. Okay? Also in that open space, they have an overflow pipe that goes onto this dirt road that goes into lot, let me see here, 11. Where's that water gonna be going? Where's it gonna be directed to? This is gonna be a problem. Because all the water from that development, our development, is going into this pond we had. And now they're gonna build houses there, it's all depressed. It goes down. Where's that water gonna be directed? There's a stream in the back, way in the back. And they're gonna run pipes in there under all these houses? Because we're gonna have a problem. Everything slopes into this pond
Okay.
from that property.
All right, we can ask the engineer.
Okay.
Next question. You got others, or you wanna?
That was the only, well, we had a big discussion about the easement, but that was settled.
Okay.
And the property lines, if you look on the plans, they're straight. You look at the fences in the back, they're staggered. This one's 10 feet into this one's back, this one's got a gate on the dirt road. So I don't know if that's right or not right. I'm not causing trouble, but, you know. Somebody put fences up that probably have to get removed. All right? And like I said, this is my main concern, because I'm on lot 73 on Conley Way.
Okay.
And like I said, this would back up probably 30 feet when you get the heavy rains into the flat where it's depressed.
Hey, what was your last name again? I'm sorry.
Gallo, Mike.
Okay, I can see where your lot is. Okay, that helps me. Thank you. All right, we'll see if we can't get an answer from the engineer for you.
Okay.
First need to understand the question.
I think,
Stephen Sanderson.
Okay.
I think maybe just give us a general overview of the stormwater, particularly in the vicinity of lot 11, 12, and 13, and as it relates to what runs into that pond right now.
I talked to him about this, or you want me?
But he needs to give testimony to the board. If you want to talk after the meeting, you can absolutely
Okay.
do that.
All right.
Okay. As was shown on the map, the pond drains, basically, there is a draw that goes through 11 and 12 to the road. It will go under the road at property line of 7 and 8 is how I am imagining it to happen today based upon the information that we have that is public record. property has not been surveyed. We don't have a topo survey of what the road will be. My design could very well change some, but historically, the contours that we get from the county are extremely accurate compared to even survey contours. To answer more generally a question of stormwater, we are not allowed by county ordinance to increase the amount of runoff that happens onto our neighbors' properties than what happens today. So as I design the subdivision, if more land because of a road is put in and that something is directed to the outlet, I would have to put in a stormwater device in order to control that so that the post-development construction does not exceed the pre-development runoff that is there. That is taken into account. I am dealing with that constantly with the staff at that public utilities. I'm sorry, my brain's not working. And that will be handled. I don't know specifically. I will be happy to speak with the gentleman to be certain that we alleviate any of his concerns and try and help any way that we can. I can guarantee this. I'll try and make it better. I won't make it worse.
Very good. Thank you, sir. All right, bring it back to staff.
Staff recommendations, preliminary approval, subject to the conditions and requirements in the staff report.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion approved by Mr. Crenshaw, second by Mr. Sasser. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we'll take a 5-minute break to folks that are in the hallway to come in and get settled, and then we will proceed with December subdivisions and then December rezonings.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate the short break there. We will begin the second portion of our meeting covering the December agenda with subdivisions. I'll remind everyone, if you may not have heard me out in the hallway, that we are the final approval body for all subdivisions. As such, if you're going to speak relative to a subdivision, I'm going to need you to be sworn in. So if you have not been sworn in already and need to be, if you will please stand and raise your right hand. You affirm the information you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and this is your solemn affirmation.
I do.
Thank you, Mr. Morrow.
Yes, sir. Southern Inspired Homes is next. Owner is Longleaf Construction. Developer, Southern Inspired Homes, represented by Jay Edwards. Surveyor engineer, Danny Williams. Its location is Bagley Road and Princeton Kinley Road in the Beulah Township, served by Beulah Fire District, North Johnston Rescue. It's 6.106 acres, 7 lots proposed. Johnston County Public Water, individual septic. Traffic count for Princeton Kinley Road is 1,700 vehicles per day. That was in 2023. Bagley Road is not available. Both roads appear on the comprehensive transportation plan as secondary roads with adequate design capacity with no noted improvement needed. In regards to direct driveway access onto Bagley Road and Princeton Kinley Road, major subdivisions to be located on a local road shall be so designed that there shall be no more than one direct residential driveway connection per 500 feet along the same side of the local road unless it can be demonstrated that the proposed subdivision cannot be physically designed, no reasonable alternative exists, or it would create an unreasonable hardship without a corresponding public benefit to prohibit individual driveway access onto a local road. Also, developments creating 4 more lots where no easement exists, and where the parent tracts have direct road frontage and easement shall not be allowed. The development must dedicate a right-of-way meeting the requirements of this section. A waiver may be allowed if determined by the planning board that in pursuit of this section, a hardship is created upon the property that provides no benefit to the safety, welfare, and quality of life of the public.
Any questions as to? All right, who'd like to be heard on behalf of Southern Inspired Home Subdivision?
My name's Matt Johnston, 44 Huntington Place, Smithfield. I do have a visual representation kind of that shows the driveways that we actually had proposed. We did submit a drawing to the NCDOT, which did come back recommending that we put 2 of the shared driveways, and the way that we had it designed here, that was kind of per their recommendation as well. I don't know if I can hand these out or.
Yeah.
So just so you can kind of see quick.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Thanks, sir.
You got an extra one, please? Thank you. Appreciate that, sir.
So, the way it was the way this property, the way it's conformed in the shape of it, in that triangular shape, and having both road frontages on either side, it really was not, there was really no way for us to have one entrance to be able to feed all of the houses that are there. And due to the nature of the surrounding properties, we felt like this was the best benefit and the highest and best use for the single family homes. And the way on both sides of the house, there's or both sides of the property, we've got individual single family houses on either side. So it would be conforming for what we're presenting here. I don't know if you got
Wait,
that.
say that again, it would be conforming.
Well, I was saying it would be for what's surrounded, the surrounding properties are all individual, single-family houses.
Is the location of that plan lot 4 and 5 driveway as shown on what we've got here on this site plan? I guess the concern there being with it offset from Trader's Mill Run.
Yeah, the way that those lots would be a little bit offset, the way 4 and 5 would be, due to trying to draw it out, it would be a little bit offset from the entrance to that other subdivision across the street.
It's offset the right way, that makes it any better.
I mean, we didn't have much of a workaround on that one due to the lot 4, its width. You'd have to, if you tried to do it in the middle of that lot, it would look very unnatural trying to put the driveway in the middle and then sharing it all the way across. So that's why we kind of drew it this way. If that was an absolute requirement, we certainly could do that. But it would look a little unnatural and not really fitting for when you ride by, it would look like it was kind of an afterthought.
Was Matt, is any consideration maybe to put 4 as standalone and then share 5 and 6? I'm just throwing it out there. That would line up.
Say that one more time, dude.
That lot 4 would line up with Trader's Mill Run and have a standalone driveway, and then the shared lots would be 5 and 6.
We could certainly do that. I think that actually, if that would be the goal, to line it up with that subdivision across the street, I think that would be an absolute good workaround to do that.
Just a thought.
Yeah. I mean, in Bagley Road, just to be clear, I'm obviously with the Bagley Road has less traffic than the Princeton Kinley Road side. So I think whatever we did there would be less impactful for traffic, and, you know, Princeton Kinley Road side seems to be the one that, when we were looking at it, had the most, had the most concern when it comes to a safety standpoint.
My concern is this is considered a major subdivision, and if you're looking at the plat on Bagley Road, you've got 4 driveways with direct access to Bagley Road, with 500 feet total separation between the 4 of them, and you should have 500 in between each one. And then on the Princeton and Kinley Road, you've got 3 that are less than, right at a little over 300 feet total separation.
Yes, ma'am. And in this case, that is what we would need a variance on, would be if we tried to do it from a single point entry, where if you did it from rear entry driveways, like if you look on this drawing, it would again go back to it looking very unnatural if we did one entrance and fed the houses from the back of the back of the property. It would, we feel like I don't know that the individual homeowners that ended up buying that property would really want a rear entry driveway that would feed from, coming from the back, and everybody having to, it almost create a shared driveway for all 7 properties if you did it that way. So we kind of felt like that this was very conforming for where it was at with especially with the shape of the property. If you did a rear entry driveway, you'd only have, like I said, you have one entry and one exit point, but yet they'd all feed from the back. And again, it would look very, very unnatural. And I don't know of another community that has that particular layout that I know of nearby or anywhere in the county. And that's kind of how, when we were looking at it with the surveyor, this was kind of the best option there available.
Other questions, gentlemen? Thank you, sir. Anyone else like to be heard as it relates to Southern Inspired Homes? All right, bring it back to staff.
Staff recommendation was denial due to the required driveway separation on both roads, lack of required driveway separation on both roads, and lack of an internal road that meets requirements for a major subdivision.
Due to not meeting the requirements, I make a motion to deny.
A second.
Motion to deny by Ms. Holmes, a second by Mr. Lovering. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
All right. Southern Inspired Homes is denied. Next on our agenda is Wheeler Track.
Okay, as a reminder, this is the remainder of the rezoning parcel that was heard earlier. This is Wheeler Tract, owner and developer Langdon Road Farm Land LLC. Engineers Dalton Engineering and Associates. It's 252 Langdon Road in the Elevation Township, served by 210 Fire and Rescue. It's 42.56 acres, 20 lots proposed, Johnston County Public Water, individual septic. Traffic count's not available. Langdon Road appears on the Comprehensive Transportation Plan as a secondary road with adequate design capacity with no noted improvement needed.
Any questions, staff? Thank you, sir. Who'd like to be heard on behalf of Wheeler Tract?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, good evening. My name is Jonathan Barnes, employed at Dalton Engineering and Associates. Our office is located at 446 East Main Street, Clayton, North Carolina. Again, our office is assisting the owner developer of the property with the subdivision application. Street would be designed to be petitioned ultimately by NCDOT for acceptance into their maintenance system. Our mailbox kiosk area located adjacent to lot number 4. Have had a soil scientist out on the property. We are comfortable with the 20-lot layout that's shown on the preliminary plan. But here tonight to help answer any questions that I can.
I have a question. I'm not seeing on this map, but it seems like a while ago when we were listening to the commercial rezoning, there was another pond over, I see the big pond that you've noted on here, but I was thinking there was another pond, yeah, I'm looking at the aerial view, to the right. Oh, I'm right in there, right there. Was that not a pond or is
They've
it
got
a
a hole
tree?
dug there for something. That's a pond.
Yeah, but it's not showing on here, so that's why I was curious.
Is that small wetland area around 3 and 4?
I'll talk as loud as I can without blowing everybody's eardrums out. So, there are some little, it's very lightly hatched in green. Right above.
Right there.
See on that lot 3, lot 4.
The hatch burning, hatch burning.
Okay. Okay. I just thought it had disappeared.
And pond will be entirely encapsulated in lot 10 and sold to one homeowner, is that correct?
That is correct.
Thanks, sir.
We got a big lot.
Any other questions?
Big pot.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to be heard as it relates to Wheeler Tract? Okay, bring back staff.
Staff recommendations, preliminary approval subject to the conditions and requirements in the staff report.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion approved by Mr. Little, second by Mr. Crenshaw. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, next on our agenda is Creech Ridge.
Yes, sir. Creech Ridge, owner is Gary and Brenda Creech. Developer is Gammon Construction LLC. Surveyor engineer is Williams Pearson Associates and Ant Engineering PLLC. The location is 655 Pierce Road in the O'Neill Township, served by Northside Fire and PHS Rescue. It's 26.689 acres, 21 lots proposed, Johnston County Public Water. Individual septic, traffic count's not available for Price Road. It appears on the Comprehensive Transportation Plan as a secondary road with adequate design capacity with no noted improvement needed. This parcel is within the environmentally sensitive area, however, no floodplain appears on the parcel.
Any questions, staff? Thank you, sir. Who'd like to be heard on behalf of Creech Ridge?
Drew Gammon with Gammon Construction. And I've got the engineering, which I think, I'm assuming y'all have as well, with Amped Engineering. We've had the soils with Adam Soils Consulting, which shows on there. And then Brown's Environmental did the wetlands on it. Other than that, I'm just here if there's any questions or anything needed from me.
Questions of the gentleman?
Yeah, where's the mail kiosk gonna go? I don't see it on the plans unless I'm missing it.
I got you, right. So,
Is that
now I
the
can't
open
spell-
space?
I just spelled it, CBU area.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Where's it at? Tell me lot.
Between lot.
6 and 7. Well, 6 in the open space.
Oh, see, okay.
And I'm assuming that the open space will be owned by the HOA?
Yes.
Okay.
Other questions? Thank you, sir. All right. Anyone else like to be heard as it relates to Creech Ridge? All right, bring it back to staff.
Staff recommendations, preliminary approval subject to the conditions and requirements in the staff report.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion approved by Mr. Crenshaw, second by Mr. Little. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, next is Edgerton Tract.
Edgerton Tract owner and developer Steelbridge Crossing LLC. Its location is 3600 block of Beulah Town Road in the Beulah Township, served by Beulah Fire District and North Johnston Rescue. It's 31.82 acres, 33 lots proposed, Johnston County Public Water, individual septic. Traffic count for Beulah Town is not available, and it appears on the comprehensive transportation plan as a secondary road with adequate design capacity with no noted improvement needed.
Questions of staff? Thank you, sir. Who'd like to be heard on behalf of Edgerton Tract?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, again, good evening. My name is Jonathan Barnes, employed with Dalton Engineering and Associates. Our office is located at 446 East Main Street, Clayton, NC. And our office is assisting the owner-developer with the subdivision application. Again, street is designed, or would be designed to be ultimately petitioned into the NCDOT state maintenance system. Our mailbox kiosk is proposed to be located adjacent to lot number 32. They're on the south side of the street. Here to help answer any questions that I can tonight.
Where's the mailbox kiosk?
You called that out just for me, you Jonathan. Thank you.
Well,
I commend the designers for lining up the roadways.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to be heard as it relates to Edgerton Tract? All right, we'll bring it back to staff.
Staff recommendation is preliminary approval subject to the conditions and requirements in the staff report.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion approved by Ms. Holmes, second by Mr. Lovering. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, last on subdivisions for this evening, Gene Lee Tract.
Gene Lee Tract, owner David E. Lee, developers RP Wellens Land Development LLC. Surveyor engineer is Marsh Engineering Services. Its location is NC Highway 50 South, near the intersection of Godwin Lake Road and the Meadow Township. It's served by Meadow Fire and Benson Rescue. It's 28.39 acres, 33 lots proposed, Johnston County Public Water, individual septic. Traffic count for NC Highway 50, that portion is 2,700 vehicles per day. That was in 2023. And NC Highway 50 South appears on the comprehensive transportation plan as a roadway with adequate design capacity with no noted improvement needed. Per NCDOT, turn lanes may be required.
Any questions, staff? Thank you, sir. Who'd like to be heard on behalf of Gene Lee Tract?
Brett Barefoot,
Marsh Engineering Services, and our office is mailing address of 5624 Toby Place Road, Stedman, North Carolina. Pretty standard subdivision here. Low density ditch design with allocations of impervious to not to exceed the county threshold. Mill kiosk is located at the roundabout in front of the common area where the pond is encapsulated entirety to the one common area space that would be deeded out to the HOA for access within the community. We're here to answer any questions that staff may have or anyone from the community.
Any questions, gentlemen?
Did I understand you, has NCDOT reviewed this for turn lanes? Is that what I heard? Or preliminary?
They just stated it may be required.
How close is that to that intersection of Gordon, Godwin Lake Road? This entrance? I don't have any dimensions on here. Do you know that?
It's gonna be approximately 400-ish feet. And as you can see on there, there is a remaining tract across 50 that's not included within the development of this subdivision.
Yeah, pretty close. Okay.
And if there were any concerns about the proximity to that intersection, if it's marginal.
You'll find out.
If we can shift it a
Yeah.
little bit, I mean, it's just preliminary drawn in.
I'm sure it'll be reviewed.
Other questions? Thank you, sir. Anyone else like to be heard as it relates to the Gene Lee tract? Yes, sir. If you give us your name and address, please.
Earl Lee, 1245 Oak Forest Road, Fort Worth, North Carolina. We own the land just to the west, and we've been neighbors there for 35 years, and we operate a hog farm, that being said, but it's right there side of it, but I see no reason we can't probably all work together, and so I'm not here to say anything negative, just to bring attention to the hog farm right across the way.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you doing that. Anyone else like to be heard as it relates to the Gene Lee tract? All right, bring it back to staff.
Staff recommendations, preliminary approval subject to conditions and requirements in the staff report.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion approved by Mr. Crenshaw, second by Mr. Sasser. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Gene Lee tract is approved. Next, we will move on to the rezoning portion of the night's meeting. And just a note about rezonings, we serve as an advisory board to the Board of County Commissioners. All of the cases that are here before us this evening will be heard by the Board of County Commissioners at their February 2nd meeting at 6 p.m. in the evening. So if you're here for any of the rezoning cases, please mark February 2nd on your calendar. Same room here for 6 p.m. for the Board of County Commissioners. We will begin with case 25-14.
Yes, sir. This is a petition to rezone 6.84 acres located at 554 Old Roberts Road in the Pleasant Grove Township from agriculture residential to and Interstate Highway Interchange 2 Industrial 1 conditional zoning. Owner and applicant Shanghai Holdings LLC. Conditional zoning request is boat assembly and manufacturing. It's served by 5210 Fire and Rescue. Existing land use is zoned AR and a portion is in the IHI overlay, and it is used right now for boat assembly and manufacturing. Zone, its surrounding uses zoned AR and used for those purposes. Zoned heavy industrial and IHI and is used for many different businesses and industrial uses. Traffic count for this portion of Old Roberts Road is not available. It appears on the comprehensive transportation plan as a secondary road with adequate design capacity with no noted improvement needed. It's located in a designated employment center future land use place type on the envisioned Johnston 2040 comprehensive land use plan, which is intended to be a mix of including light industrial offices or institutional uses. A portion of this lot is also in the IHI overlay. There were 16 notices sent out. Pre-application meeting was held with the applicant on September 22nd of 2025. A little bit about this. It has, we didn't get a complaint or anything on this. There was some work being done inside of the existing building, and they went to get permits for that, and it was discovered that what it's being used as now is not allowed in the IHI or AR, and it's only allowed in light industrial or heavy industrial. It's been in operation for a couple of years, according to the applicant, with no complaints from us. And as you see, everything around it is pretty much in that industrial. So that's how we're here for this now.
Thank you, sir.
And also, the map included is existing with parking and everything. Everything would remain the same as it is now.
Thank you, sir. All right, we'll give it a second to let folks get settled here. Or settled as everyone could get. All right, who'd like to be heard on behalf of case 25-14? Anyone here for case 25-14?
A mailing was sent out to the applicant, and also an email was sent to the email on the application. However, it did get kicked back due to being, it said recipient full or unknown address, one or the other.
We'll table it.
Yeah, let's table it.
January, I make a motion to table to January
Date certain will be January 27th.
27.
27th.
Second.
Motion to table until January 27th by Ms. Holmes, second by Mr. Crenshaw. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that is tabled. Next on our agenda is case 25-10.
Yes, sir. If you'll remember, this was tabled from the October meeting, so the applicant could meet with the nearby residents at a homeowners association meeting earlier in December. This is a petition to rezone 25.06 acres of a 66.24 acre tract located in a 400 block of Angie Road in the Cleveland Township from mobile home park district to agriculture residential conditional zoning. Owner is Taylor Joint Living Trust, Alfred T. Taylor Jr. and Barbara H. Taylor, trustees. Applicants Duke Energy Progress LLC. Conditional zoning request is electrical substations, switching stations, transmission lines, and related facilities served by 5210 Fire and Rescue. Existing land use is on mobile home park district and is vacant land. Surrounding land use is zoned agriculture residential and used for those purposes. Zone mobile home park district and as used for a mobile home park. Zone general business special use district and as a shopping center. Traffic count for this portion of Angie Road is not available, and it does not appear on the comprehensive transportation plan as needing improvement. It's located within a designated low-density residential place type on the envisioned Johnston comprehensive land use plan. There were 25 notices sent out to adjacent property owners. Pre-application meeting was held with planning staff on August 21st of 2025. Not in your packet, but in the last day or so, we've gotten an updated site plan as a result of those meetings. The map that you have in front of you is the one that is updated. It shows I think it's up at the, north. It's at the very entrance. You see a
Supplemental.
yeah, 20-foot wide landscape area to be installed at the northwest corner of the parcel, consisting of evergreen trees. The supplemental landscape area shall be planted at a minimum density of 5 evergreen trees per 100 linear feet. The applicant has also requested that that be added to the conditions, so that was added to the conditions in the staff report also.
Questions of staff? All right, obviously we have a lot of interest in this case. We did hear quite a bit of testimony about this previously. I'll just remind everybody that is on the record, that is in our minds. There's no need to repeat that testimony. I think the main interest of the board at this point is what has changed since that last meeting. So with that, I will call the applicant of case 25-10.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Amy Crow. I'm an attorney at Smith Anderson, here on behalf of the applicant Duke Energy. One, we're thankful for the opportunity to come back before you this evening and appreciate the summary of staff. So like you mentioned, we're just going to be highlighting on what happened at the neighborhood meeting and the changes that we've made as a result of that. We do have a PowerPoint just to kind of highlight a couple of those things, and we'll go through that right now. So is this our old, I think this is our old one. Okay. Okay. All right, well then I will just talk through it with you.
Go ahead.
And you have the site plan in your packet. So we had over 40 people in attendance at our neighborhood meeting. We talked about a variety of topics such as site selection, EMF, like health and safety concerns with that, landscape and buffering, safety and security, traffic impacts and noise impacts. So for example, in the site selection piece, there was a lot of questions about, this is a property that we are only acquiring the southern parcel. There are a lot of questions, did you consider the north side? And we can say we did, and it didn't work. It wasn't the best fit in our multi-criteria siting study, and Duke went with the southern side of the parcel, and it balanced the overall functional and design requirements for potential impacts. So, we understand that there were questions about that, but before you tonight is just on the table is the southern piece of this property. We talked a little bit about electromagnetic fields and health and safety concerns. We presented a slide that kind of showed a little bit of information about EMF readings from a substation transformer to a substation fence line. And what that showed is at a substation transformer, your EMF reading is about 13.9, and that's less than a standard electric appliance in your house. For example, a hairdryer is at about 70 mg, a microwave is 200 mg, even your digital clock next to your bed is 8 mg. So at the substation transformer, it's only 13.9. If you go 75 feet to like a nearby substation fence, not property line, you're down to 0.8. So there's really no anticipated EMF impacts here. Also, in terms of EMFs, there's that transmission line that bisects the site. That's already putting out any EMF, so there's going to be no additional from the substation here. And what we'll say about EMF is power lines and, these electromagnetic fields have been studied for nearly 50 years. And studies show that there's no demonstrated evidence that there's an unsafe level power frequency EMF from power lines and power frequency electromagnetic fields in the home. Again, many of your home appliances have this. Yes, this is the slide that we showed. Thank you. They found that these studies have found that frequency of EMF related to power frequency, which is what you're talking about here, does not break down cell bonds. It does not damage DNA. So again, here you see your typical household appliance is 8 mg for a digital clock, 5 mg for your stove. You go 75 feet away from a substation transformer, it's already at 0.8. The nearest property line from the fence line of the substation, not even the transformer, is over 300 feet away. So there's a significant distance, and you already have the transmission line bisecting the site. So in terms of what we talked about in terms of additional landscape and buffering commitments, a lot of the things that we heard from the neighbors were the buffering on that western side of the parcel that abuts Jones Farm subdivision. So what we decided is we worked with the community and we're adding a 20-foot supplemental landscape area in that northwestern corner. It kind of goes along the property lines, but also a little bit along Angie Road until it hits the danger tree zone. We've also committed to planting that full 40-foot landscaped area because there's already a 20-foot landscape requirement in addition to our 20-foot supplemental buffer. We're willing to do that as soon as reasonably practical after Duke acquires the property. So we're not going to wait until we construct the substation to do that. It's likely going to be in the fall of 2026, just because we have to work with planting seasons and everything like that. But it does kind of for behind the curtains in terms of timing for the year. They'll want to do it within that year of when the property is purchased. So we are committed to making sure that buffer gets in and it starts growing, because construction on this substation isn't slated to start till 2029 anyway. We're also meeting with one of the property owners abutting the southwestern corner of the property, and I'll talk about that in a second. That's a little bit trickier because our property line is within the danger tree zone, but we're meeting with that person individually to kind of help address his concerns about his view shed requirements. So if we go over to the site plan, you can see in that northwestern corner the additional supplemental buffer there. It goes right up to the danger tree area and connects with the existing vegetation on the site. We did add that as a condition to the rezoning, so it's in there. And then you can see that kind of southwestern portion of the parcel. It's in the danger tree zone, so committed to working with at least one of the property owners down there and meet with him on his property so we can see, you know, what his view shed is going to be like and see if there's a way to work with him around that. Those are the big changes to the substation itself. We did talk a little bit about the size of the substation with the neighbors. This is our standard design and footprint for new substations. It's really designed for reliability and provides safe room for maintenance and repair of the equipment within the substation. Again, if you look at the setbacks, we've got the fences set back at least 330 feet from that western property line, 370 feet from the road, 250 feet to the south, and 610 feet to the west. So we've pushed, it's 300 feet away from that Jones Farm subdivision. We're adding additional buffer where we can to continue to mitigate the impacts to those neighbors. We also talked a little bit about security. Security of Duke substations is a multi-layer approach. In addition to the physical barriers like the fence and the gates, it includes a cross-functional threat intelligence team that monitors threats 24/7, 365 days of a year, and has daily intelligence sharing with law enforcement. In terms of traffic impacts, again, this site is only visited once a month for maintenance, so there's no anticipated traffic impacts for the site. The last thing we talked briefly with the neighbors about is noise of substations and what to expect from a noise level. If you think about, you know, decibel limits, the substation is about 40 decibels at about 250 feet. That's the equivalent of like a refrigerator hum. And so again, we're 330 feet from the nearest property line, and that's the substation fence line, not even the equipment, and even further that to the nearest residential structure. So very minimal noise impacts here. Those are all of the main kind of overview of a lot of the things we talked about with the neighbors. So one of the things that Duke just wants to emphasize is, in terms of project reasonableness and need on the next slide, is staff has recommended approval of this project. They've determined that it is consistent with a comprehensive plan, that's reasonable and in the public interest. And I really think the main driver of that is Johnston County continues to be one of the fastest growing counties in the state. And not only that, but in this area, you have two substations that are already overloaded. And this substation is needed in this area to address very much needed capacity to serve current growth and future planned load growth. And it'll increase reliability and resiliency of the site. And one of the things that we told the neighbors is eventually when it's constructed, the Jones Farm subdivision will actually be directly connected into this. This substation will serve their community directly. Duke is very much committed to being a good neighbor. You know, we met with the neighbors for hours. We've done our best to answer all the questions that have come in over email. But we also need to be a good community member with that. So we hope that this revised plan and the neighborhood meeting help address the neighbors' concerns while also allowing Duke to meet the needs of this region. We're happy to answer any questions that you all have about the site plan and design, but we would ask that you vote to recommend approval of this and send this to the Board of Commissioners at their February meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions? All right, anyone else like to be heard on behalf of or in support of rezoning case 25-10? All right, anyone in opposition to or with questions related to 25-10? Give us your name and address, please.
Good evening. I'm Dwight Stanley and my wife Wendy. We are residents at 257 Freewheel Place. I've got a long speech, but I'm going to kind of cut it a little bit short for the evening. Well, I'm opposed to it. We're a very small little community. There's only about 70 houses in our subdivision. We are very small, and we're out in the middle of the field. And we oppose it because we have a lot of concerns about chemical spills, about if the transformers rupture. We have watersheds on two sides, on the right-hand side and on the left-hand side in the trees. They are both watersheds. If we have chemical spills, who's going to be asked to clean that up? I mean, yes, Duke's going to clean it up. Who's going to foot that bill? It's going to come back to us. And one of the questions I asked was, why can't we consider the north side? And they said, flat out, it's off the table. Why is it off the table? There's woods there. If you look at the Google Earth, it's all woodland. They could easily come in, cut us an area for the substation in those woods. And I will also mention to you that that particular area is frequented by off-road users under those power lines. As a matter of fact, on the day before Thanksgiving, Johnston County Sheriff's deputies were on site escorting folks out of there. It's also been a dumping ground. What I would like to see is Duke propose to look at this a little deeper and consider that area for the substation. Then they could lock it down, which would help free up Johnston County's resources for cleanup and the off-road use. Somebody's going to get hurt back there. And by moving it to that side of the road, it would free up Johnston County. So that's what I would ask.
Questions of the gentleman? Thanks, sir. Others? Yes, sir.
Name's Don Burton. I live at 37 Bellacourt. My wife prepared some statements. I'm going to make those a little more brief. Ma'am, could you pass that around?
Sure. Just take one each?
Yes, ma'am. And so what this is a visualization of the size of the substation. So the largest block is the size of the substation, then the labeled football field, and then the half acre. Majority of the lots in our neighborhood are just over half an acre. Some of them might be pushing 0.6. But that gives you a visual of the size. We ask and we appreciate the fact that Duke came to the meeting, and we appreciate the fact that they sent us information. But what they sent us on the EMF was an updated pamphlet from 2019 that has no citations. It's got references in there, but the references are 100 and some pages each. You got to dig through them to find the answer to your question rather than having a citation. I assume all of us have been to college, and if you can't go straight to what you're looking for, it doesn't do much good. The other thing that Dwight mentioned about chemical spills, so I'm not sure if this substation uses it or not, but one of the things they use is SF6. It's a synthetic gas.
What'd you say it was?
SF6. It's a synthetic gas, and it's used in gas-insulated switchgear, circuit breakers, because it's got a superior insulating and arc quenching properties. It allows utilities, including Duke Energy, to operate high-voltage equipment reliably within a more compact physical footprint. However, it's also recognized as one of the most potent greenhouse gases. So if there's an accident out there, it is 23,500 times greater than carbon dioxide when it comes to the greenhouse gases potency. So there's that. The health considerations we discussed last time, we discussed at our meeting. The problem is there's no longitudinal studies. There's no long-term studies. They brought up at our meeting, oh, well, you can't really do experiments on people. Well, that's kind of true, kind of not. You can inject them with something, but you know what? If you built a power station beside their house, you could check in on them for years, see how they're doing, see what the differences are. So those are our major concerns. The meeting kind of went the way she said, not really. That buffer zone up there, while we welcome it, if we're stuck getting this thing, was the idea of one resident. And they said, yeah, we'll do that. Like I said, if we're stuck getting this thing, that's great. But, you know, it's zoned for this or a mobile home park. There's no doubt that nobody ever got cancer from a mobile home park. So the way those power lines run, there's a required 65-foot offset to any property from the line. So a mobile home park would have to be on the other side of the field. And we can grow our trees and not see the mobile home park, and we ain't got to worry about it. And as far as the appliances, I don't run a hairdryer 24 hours a day. I don't run a microwave 24 hours a day. Their EMF expert himself said that the power coming off those or out of that substation is going to be determined by the amount of current going through it. So yeah, it may be 0.8, but it could be higher than that at times too. So those are our concerns. Make no mistake about it, we don't want it. As a community, we don't want it. And I don't think there's anybody in this room, whether it's a board member, a Duke employee, or a community member from ours, that could honestly say, I wouldn't mind having this in my backyard. Because if you do, you're being dishonest. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, sir. Any questions, gentlemen? Others?
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Hello, my name's Eric Beers. I live at 275 Freewell Place. I'm not going to take a lot of your time. I just want to expand on what Dwight said with the north side of Angie Road. From my understanding from the last meeting, the only concern Duke had with that property was the fact that it's treed, that they would have to clear trees in order to use that property, where the southern side is already cleared. It meets all the other requirements. It's flat, it's large enough, it has the transmission lines. Putting it on the north side benefits everybody. It puts it out of sight. They don't have to do as much of a tree buffer because it's already there, and they can sell the timber resources from that land. The other point I want to make was on the health concerns around EMF. There's studies and science that shows it doesn't have a health concern. There's studies and science that shows it does have a health concern. Regardless of what the science says, there's enough of public perceived perception that there are health concerns, that when people in this neighborhood try to sell their homes after the substation is built in 2029, or while it's under construction, that there are going to be enough potential buyers who would walk away because they perceive there's a health concern, which is going to drive down property values. But thank you. That's all.
Thanks, sir. And well. All right. Anything else from the applicant you'd like to add in answering any of those questions?
Sure, just want to briefly address.
Did you want to say something? Okay. Yeah, we'll come back to the applicant at the end. We'll get both of you gentlemen.
Ken Leonard, I live at 262 Old Hickory Drive. I was here at the last meeting, and I had posed a bunch of questions to Duke Energy, and they've since at least emailed me after that meeting, actually even after the meeting we had with them. They emailed me back answers to these questions. And some of them are still unclear to me, so hopefully they can answer some of them tonight. I worked in utility up north for 31 years, and I would visit these transmission stations as part of my auditing job, and I never saw it slammed right up against property lines, and it's for a reason. I brought a little video. I was asked if I could, show it tonight, but it's something on YouTube. You could look it up yourself and see the hazard of an explosion of one of these transformers. The amount of, from the gases that build up, you get a fault inside the transformer, a massive explosion. And that was one of the things I posted them as far as being within the blast zone. You can see from the videos I even have here, if any of you want to see it, it's like a couple of seconds. I'll show you what the actual destruction could be. Now, it's a rare occurrence. They'll say it's a rare occurrence, and it is. It's a rare occurrence. But if it's to happen, you want it to be far away. And that's my main concern, is this is not far away. It's right there. So if it does happen, there's going to be fatalities. I mean, it's basic distance, time and distance. So they had answered that question as far as saying that the spacing between equipment and also the spacing between the transformers and property lines exceeds industry standards. I mean, if it's right up against the property line, I don't know what the standards are. I mean, you might as well put it on somebody's property. I just never saw it this close. So that's my biggest concern, is really the closeness. And they're saying, there's wetlands to the right of it. What's on the other side of those wetlands? All it is extending that transmission line another couple hundred feet, or down the other side. It's probably somebody else's property, but did they look to see if, and that would be far enough away. That would be, to me, a solution. The north side, it's still close, but it's much better than right where they plan on putting it. I don't think it takes somebody to really understand what can happen there. Like I said, if you want to look at, I have it right on my phone here. Anyone, maybe?
I think, in an effort to kind of keep things moving here, I think we understand the concern that. Like, sir.
And the only other thing, I guess, as far as just fire suppression there, they had said that they don't have anything planned to be put there. There's no hydrant as far as, that's something I guess the town would have to do, put a fire hydrant in front of that property, whether that's planned or not. That's basically all I can say.
Thanks, sir. Yes, sir.
Name's Dan Downs. I live at 167 Freewell Place, and this still stands. Yeah. I would just like to ask you to recommend to not have them put it somewhere else. For all the reasons that everybody's concerned, I just don't want to have to look at it, honestly. I don't think it's appropriate for it to be there. I'm very happy. I'll be meeting with you tomorrow, because I'm at the southwest corner, so I'll have a clear view of it. I'm very happy that they'll do what they can to hide it for me, but I still don't want it there.
Okay. Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else with new information, new testimony different than what we heard last time? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. I'm actually going to just throw this out. My husband Dwight spoke a minute ago. My name is Wendy Stanley, 257 Freewell Place, Jones Farm. We're considered a rural area, and as such, if a fire emergency occurs, well, that small group of paid firefighters and volunteers that have to respond, will they have the resources available to extinguish an electrical fire that does not respond well to water? We've questioned a fire chief that we are very close to and is like family. He has 35 years of firefighting experience, and we asked him what happens when a substation catches on fire. His flat response, and I quote, was, "Wendy, I have stood beside a Duke Energy representative and watched a small substation burn itself out because we could not apply water to the fire. The underground infrastructure that folks don't ever see is practically impossible to extinguish, and it's easier to allow itself to burn out. The foam that is necessary to help mitigate these fires is not something that every fire station has on hand." For personal research, anyone can go to WRAL.com, excuse me, and look up the North Carolina State Centennial Campus Substation Transformer Fire from April 27th, 2021. It is impressive. It's scary to watch. It took 3 years and $5.5 million to restore that substation. And that fire was sparked by a squirrel. That substation is about a quarter of the size of this one that is proposed. So you can imagine the potential for something that's unpleasant. As much as my neighbors probably want me to say, do not build this, my question is this. If you're going to build it, and the chances that you are, we're very realistic. Is there something that can make this more palatable for us that have to live with it? If so, is there any way to possibly consider putting on the table the site across the street, transmission lines are there, land is there, automatic buffers are already there on both sides with vegetation. It would be very little to do, not a whole lot. I do understand they're a $92 billion company. We are a small group of about 75 homeowners. We love our little subdivision. We don't want it ruined, but we also understand that progress is inevitable. You have to have progress. We want progress. Absolutely we do. We also want power. We want lights. I love my hot water. I don't know about y'all. But the thing is this, how can we make it more palatable? Better buffers, put it across the highway, transmission lines are already there. We pay $9,000-ish a year to do progress for our street lamps in our subdivision. Take that bill off of us. If you want to build it, we understand it. You build it, you're gonna come. People are coming. Johnston County's growing by leaps and bounds. Nobody knows that better than y'all. But at least take a little bit of a burden off of the folks that have to live by this and see it. As a gesture of goodwill, take our $9,000 street lights, take it from us. Our homeowners association dues are next to nothing. We don't have a pool. We don't have all sorts of courtyards and a dog park. We're just a humble little group that loves living where we live. Our hardwoods, our squirrels, our deer, our kids, our pets, our neighbors. We love them all. We can make this work for everyone. It won't be ideal for Duke. It won't be ideal for us. But everybody has to deal with a little heartburn. Let's make it as easy as we possibly can. Be it ever so humble, there is no place like home. And we want ours saved. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. I think I saw one more. Yes, ma'am.
Not sure how I'll compare to that. I'm Pamela Downs, and I'm 167 Freewheel Place. Basically, mine is a sentimental thing. I bought this property for my family, as I said last time, and it's a beautiful area. We have farmland. We have lots of trees. This morning, I saw a blue hawk sitting on a tree by my window. And we like to be outside and we like to take long walks on Angie Road. And I'm just devastated that I'm not going to be seeing the farm. I'm going to be seeing some ugly metal thing. So that's just my concern and why I'm against it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
John Lehman, 15 Bellacore Drive. 3 points, and I'll be extremely brief. 2 of these have to do with a couple items that came up with our meeting with Duke. What was presented to us was that there's no evidence of property values not being impacted by a substation. I've requested some data to back this up and specifically asked, show us a substation that was built next to an established neighborhood. not while the neighborhood was being built and not before the neighborhood was actually started construction. Show us something where you've got an established neighborhood and a substation was dropped in and that there was no impact to the property values. The second thing was the lighting that's going to be required at this substation. As part of any site plan approval, you've got to have a photometric study. I would like to see that. I would like to see the extent of what this glow in the sky is going to look like out in the field close to the neighborhood. The third item was something that actually is should be in your handout for tonight, Exhibit B, under this case, line item 7. Reads, because expansion of the footprint of an electrical substation would not involve a change of use or increase the density of development on the property, such a modification shall be deemed a minor modification that can be approved administratively, so long as the modification complies with the applicable development standards in place at the time. If somebody can tell me that what I'm about to say is incorrect, I'm all ears. What I am reading that is that this does not have to go back through any kind of plan approval. It would be handled as a field modification, and this substation can expand in any direction provided the equipment has a 20-foot standoff from the property line. The 20-foot standoff is listed as item 4 in that same exhibit. So what we're seeing here, okay, that's what's being proposed. What I'm reading here is that it can be expanded without having to come back and answer to this board. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, sir. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Mary Burton. I live at 37 Bellacourt Drive. My husband spoke earlier because I'm kind of dealing with some laryngitis. I just wanted to bring up a couple of points. The first one being that this is not eminent domain. They're making a choice to put this here. Once they buy this land, it's theirs. They can do whatever they want with it. We don't have a say. You don't have a say. None of us do. The other thing is that either way we lose. As a consumer, our prices have been raised. Statistically, if you look back, there's been a couple years where they went down, but still ultimately they have been raised. With that being said, as a homeowner, if this is allowed to go there, we lose as far as the money being raised because we'll still be paying. The other thing is possible health issues because everything is inconclusive. When you look at all the clinical studies on health, at the very end of every clinical study it says further studies need to be done. So it's not just, it's cut and dry, it's not a health issue. We don't know that. And then there's no longitudinal studies where they follow somebody from the time they live there for years. We have no idea. The next thing, of course, is property value. Property value also doesn't take into account that we have our low interest rates that we got when we bought the house. We can't get those low interest rates today if we have to move. The other thing would also be people that come down our road that may come look at our house and they see this big substation and say, I don't want to look. That doesn't take into account. So it just depends on how big we're going to lose. Are we going to lose as consumers? Or are we going to lose as consumers and homeowners? Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, anyone else? All right, thank y'all. Bring it back to the applicant for any final comments, then we'll take it to staff.
First, I'm just going to briefly address a couple of things that I heard, but then I'd like a couple of members of our Duke team to talk to you a little bit more about emergency management plans, you know, kind of citing of substations generally and similar situations that we have. This is not an uncommon occurrence. But I did want to talk briefly about property value. We've heard the concerns of neighbors. You know, we've done property value and impact studies when they're required for special use permit hearings and other things. It's not required in Johnston County, but across the board, you know, the ones that we have done in similar circumstances found that substations don't substantially impact or negatively impact property values. We are ahead of the Board of Commissioners meeting, committing to bringing some more information on that specific to this site. But as you know, timing and everything moving forward. So we're working to address those questions there. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn it over to Derek Reamer to talk a little bit more about just the substation generally, its importance to the area and location.
I did have a question relative to what someone was asking about property values. Do you have the data that they were asking about with a substation coming in after an existing neighborhood and the difference between those property values?
So we do have one of those in a previous case that we did. It's Camp Kanata, kind of northern Wake County area. Property substation being built as, development is coming around it. And some properties being built and some properties, in the process of being built. And that study found no impact to property values. But for the Board of Commissioners meeting, we are committing to having someone do a more specific look at this site.
So you don't have any where there was an existing fully developed neighborhood and a substation came in and those property value differences?
We have a mix of a little bit of everything. So from ones where there's been a substation there, it's expanded, and there's residential neighborhoods already there, from the one I just referenced where there's, properties there and the substation is coming in afterwards. So it's a little bit of all over the place, but we'll look at that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is there any way we can address the gentleman's question about the substation footprint expanding or anything like that?
Sure. So I'll say that that's typical language that we include in most things, and it's already usually a part of your UDO anyway. Minor changes can be approved administratively. There's not a plan to expand this substation. So, we're happy to kind of engage in that conversation, but usually the way that just kind of development works is construction drawings. Oftentimes minor changes can be approved anyway through an administrative site process. So.
Yeah, I may have a question for staff on that a little bit later,
Yeah,
but thank you for
that's fine.
addressing that. Go ahead.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Derek Reamer, I'm with Duke Energy. I'm the District Manager for Government Community Relations, 411 Fayetteville Street in Raleigh. Previous life, I worked about 10 years as Emergency Management Director for the City of Raleigh. I also worked for North Carolina Emergency Management and rode a fire truck for about 15 years. So I can talk a little bit about fire and safety and emergency management. Things like this are trained for by firefighters all over. We've got mutual aid agreements across the county to support any fire department that might be responding. The likelihood of a substation fire is very, very, very rare. With that, to the point earlier, we have all these substations remotely controlled. So if something were to start burning, we can turn that off from our control center and stop any additional power going into the substation. It'll allow our crews and the fire crews to get in there and safely extinguish it. We've got examples of substations much closer to properties in Fuquay, Morrisville, Raleigh, all across the area. So, the proximity to houses, this is not something that's new, not something that, is not trained for and regularly dealt with by emergency responders across the board. Sure, it can be difficult and it can be unique if it were to happen, but our crews trained for that. Fire department's trained for it. Just earlier this year, we did a live line demonstration and training with Johnston County Emergency Service, a community college, where we bring in first responders. We have a whole trailer that shows them how to deal with power, how to address those type of issues, and so we do that on a regular basis for our fire departments and emergency responders. So happy to answer any questions on emergency response or anything like that. Got any?
Someone was talking about an explosion. Do you have a typical blast radius? If a transformer fully exploded, what would be the blast radius of that? Are there any?
Not off the top of my
Is there
head.
data associated with
I'm
that?
sure we could find some anecdotal data or something out there where that's happened and what a radius would look like, but nothing off the top of my head. Again, so rare that anything like that would happen.
I'm just looking at the site plan. So from the edge of the substation to the nearest house.
Yeah. And I've got an engineer here who can probably talk a little bit more specifically on some of that.
I'm trying
distance
to figure out if that's going to impact the actual.
Of course, yes. I'm Beth Steffens. I'm a substation engineer with Duke Energy at 410 Wilmington Street in Raleigh. We design our substations, this is our standard footprint, to keep the spacing between the equipment and also the spacing from the property line to industry standards.
so that if anything happens within the substation, it's contained to inside the fence.
What's the industry standard?
For the property line, I think it's 15 feet and it's IEEE, the Institute of Electrical Engineers and Electricians.
That's the transformers, 15 feet, or is that the utility?
I can't speak to the exact equipment.
Somebody else had mentioned chemical spills. What, is that something that we should be concerned about with this particular substation?
We have oil-filled equipment within our substation, and we're regulated by Environmental Protection Agency requirements to have containment in the event of a spill. So around each of our transformers, and we have some regulators that are also have oil in them. Anything above 55 gallons, we are required to treat and have a plan on site on how to respond to or not treat, we capture it. We capture the oil. There's a concrete sump under each transformer and a concrete sump under the regulators. And then we have a plan on site, should there be an oil spill and how we are going to respond to it.
Do you have any statistic? How is that rare? Does that occur more often? Obviously, a blast or explosion is rare, but what about a chemical spill?
I don't have any statistics on that. Leaks are more common, and that's contained within that sump, and we have methods to clean that up.
What about this gas that was spoken of that,
Yes, some of our equipment is gas cooled rather than oil cooled. I don't have any.
some of the equipment here is for sure that's going into this
There's
substation?
mixed. Some of it is gas insulated, and some of it is oil insulated. Yes.
Other question? Thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I think just in closing, one of the things that we want to emphasize is there are substations like this near residential communities across the state. This is a highly regulated industry. You have subject matter experts and engineers who design, think about these things. The substation footprint is designed in such a way that it does help mitigate those risks by giving adequate spacing. This is something that, Duke Energy does and is committed to providing very much needed capacity for this area. We're happy to answer any other questions. We're happy to continue to work with neighbors in terms of that condition. It's not a deal breaker for us if you'll recommend approval with removal of that condition. In terms of minor amendments, we're fine with that. But we do want to emphasize that this is an important project for the area. And, staff has recommended approval, and it's been deemed consistent with the comprehensive plan. In this district, it's surrounded by agricultural residential zoning. And in the agricultural residential district, which is everything around this, substations are a permitted use with conditional zoning. So with that, we would ask that you vote to recommend approval to the Board of Commissioners and put this on for the February 2nd, 2026 meeting. Thank you.
One question for you real quick. Have you read and do you agree to all of the conditions in the staff report? Okay, thank you. Bryce, a question for you if you don't mind relative to 7. Help me understand, I hear the applicant saying they'd be amenable to removing 7. Help me understand what our process is in the absence of that condition.
So a minor modification in this situation, in our mind, and what our historical response to that is, an increase in the footprint would not be minor. You're approving, as part of this conditional zoning, you're approving this conceptual site plan. If we find that they're expanding, they're proposing something different that's going to expand beyond that footprint, meaning that campus, as they've shown laid out, they have a fence, which is one boundary. Then they have this area just beyond the fence, which appears to be probably some type of stone gravel or something of that nature, which may be your capture for any oil spills or whatnot. If it goes beyond that, if it's going to expand beyond that boundary, that's going to be a major modification that would have to come back through our process.
So they can't go 20 feet in every direction as long as they're within the boundaries of the property?
Not in accordance
someone
with, not in accordance with our interpretation. We do not
Okay.
have any specifics with regard to what constitutes a minor or major modification, other than your general definitions for what is minor or major. So,
An inch.
yeah, we're gonna take it as, it expands in footprint, it's gonna require coming back to the board. Because you're approving, this body or Board of Commissioners, in essence, is approving a site plan. So we're not approving that site plan other than taking it a step further for where, stormwater or some of those more technical components. At this stage, you're approving the site plan. If we find that's changing substantially, it's gonna have to come back.
Okay. Thanks, sir. All right, bring it back to staff.
Staff recommendation remains approval based on the consistency statement in the staff report and the condition.
I'll say this, that, as much as I would like to sympathize with the residents, and the facts are that it meets the criteria that we have to accept. And with that, I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
A motion, and would you, I know we have a motion in a second. Question about that seventh condition.
Based on staff's explanation, I don't have any issue with the seventh condition. But I will say this, since the applicant doesn't really have an issue with it, my motion will probably be to remove the seventh condition.
Okay.
I'll second.
Still second that condition. I want to look to our attorney just to make sure we did that appropriately. Okay. So I have a motion for approval, for recommendation of approval to the Board of County Commissioners with the removal of condition number 7, which deals with the change in the footprint. And I have by Mr. Little, I have a second by Ms. Howard. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that'll go forward to the Board of County Commissioners as a recommendation for approval to be heard at their February 2nd meeting at 6 p.m. All right, and Mr. Marr, anything else for us this evening? All right, that was entered into evidence earlier too.
Oh, is this yours or mine?
It's ours.
Oh.
Yeah, you're sharing it.
Yeah, is this the complete stack?
That is, there should be 5.
Have complete confidence in you making
All right,
the correct.
so I need a motion to approve the execution of the written decision for Chase Track.
Make a motion to approve the written decision as stated.
Second.
Motion approved by Ms. Holmes, second by Mr. Lovering. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, next will be Junior Road Tract.
I make a motion to approve the written decision as stated for Junior Road Track.
Second.
A motion to approve by Ms. Holmes, second by Ms. Howard. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, next is Seahawk Crossing.
I make a motion to approve the written decision as stated for Seahawk Crossing.
Second.
Motion approved by Ms. Holmes, second by Mr. Lovering. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Fox Crest.
I make a motion to approve the written decision as stated for Fox Crest.
Second.
Motion approved by Ms. Holmes, second by Mr. Lovering. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And Railstone Crossing.
I make a motion to approve the written decision as stated for Railstone Crossings.
Second.
Motion approved by Ms. Holmes, second by Mr. Lovering. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anything else for us this evening?
No, sir, just a reminder of the January 6th special meeting that will be here at 6 PM, and then the regular January 27th meeting of the planning board, and Merry Christmas.
Also, yes, thanks everybody for your service, and I hope everybody has happy holidays and a Merry Christmas.
Merry
and a happy-
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Appreciate the chicken.
Merry Christmas.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks
Yeah.
for